now we're on step 9. Step 9 is to pin the back to the front at the shoulders, matching seams, and then stitch. So I'm going to take the front and lie it on top of the back. And we're focusing on the shoulders right now. So I'm going to match the seams. That's the one thing I want to make sure is definitely aligned, is the seam. So I'm going to get those lined up, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm putting 2 pins in this area because I do not want, I'm going to put it right through the seam. I do not want that to move. And then I'm going to take the front edge, the front of the, this is the part closer to the neck. And then I'm going to match the notch right here. And then you have the edge. Ouch. I'm going to put a pin here. So I'm going to baste this just so I can show you the goal. If I could find my basting needle. I got the wrong needle. So I want one of the stitches to go right. I'm not there yet. Let me go up this end. All right. Now I want to go right through the seam. It's a lot of fabric there. Take that out. Running out of thread here. Just want to get, you don't have to do this part, you can just pin it. Okay. So I'm gonna put this one here because I wanted to open up. So then when the dress turns right side out, so you see that my seams are not matching up at the circle at the end, even though it did look like it. So we're going to open this up. So it looks matched up on this side, but it's not matched up on this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just scoot this over just a little bit because I want those seams to match up. I'm going to hold this close, and I'm going to pin this together. I'm going to open it back up again. All right, that's good. So now could go to the machine, finish this curve. Now there's a slight curve. There's a slight curve here. You might not see it. This is not a straight stitch. This is going up and then it's coming down just slightly. Nice rounding. I want to make sure everything is laying flat. And then see how the seam is matched right there? And so just like before, pressing it flat, pressing it open, finish the seam. So I'm going to do the other shoulder and then I'll be back at the table. So now that you have the dress together, you now realize that there's a whole lot of fabric going on. So the next thing we're going to do is do the pockets. Before we sew the pockets on, now would be a good time, if you haven't already, now would be a good time to serge your edge or whatever finishing you're going to use, because when we put the pocket on, it just is easier if these edges are already serged. That goes for the pocket, the actual pocket as well. So I'm going to serge the pocket and the lining, and then we will add it on to the garment. And you might need your pattern if you have to check to see where the circles are to put the pocket. I know they're here somewhere, but I lose track of them and then they disappear, so we'll just have to mark them again. Okay, so we're going to add the pockets now. So to the front of the pocket, we're going to grab the lining pieces. If you're using the same fabric for all pieces, then it doesn't matter. So I have the notch. I want to make sure that looks like I have two. I want to make sure I have the actual notch. So I'm going to match the notch up, and then I'm going to pin the pocket to the dress. The corner, at the notch, and then at the bottom of the pocket, making sure that's nice and straight but not stretched. I'm going to put a put a pin in a pocket so that it doesn't flap around. So that's one side. Now I'm going to do the other. There's my notch, matching up the notch here. And put this in the front. Stitching 1/4 inch seam allowance right along the outside of the pocket. So you have the pocket on, and then on the outside you're going to press the seam allowance towards the pocket. So when you have the pocket out, there, the seam allowance is going to go towards the pocket. So it's pretty much just flattening this. Now this next step is not in your instructions. What you want to do is, and this is only on this part, is you're going to edge stitch right along this pocket. So you're going to be about 1/8 of an inch from this edge, and you're going to stitch right down on both sides, this one and this one. And what this does is it's going to just keep your pocket to the front. It's just going to prevent your pocket from acting wonky. If you've had that happen before, the fix for it is and it's pretty much understitching. Just like we understitch facings to keep those under stitch, to keep the facing under and hidden, we're going to do the same thing with these pockets. So now we're going to go to the back. And right size facing. Here's the notch, and here's the notch on the pocket. And I have to fix it. So you're going to, I have to go fix my pocket here, but you're going to pin your pocket to the back, and you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch down. You're going to press the pocket open. You're not going to understitch. If you understitch this side, then your pocket's going to feel a little bit weird. This does not get top stitching on the seam. That is just for the front. So put your backs on, and then this side goes over here. Stitch down those sides, and then we'll be back. We're going to match up the underarm seams here. I'm going to pin. Pinning down the side, and then I get to the pocket. Hopefully my pockets are on even. Oh my goodness, one's a little further up than the other, but I can make this work. So there should be a circle that you mark, so you're going to stitch from the underarm to that circle. I'm just going to pin the pocket together, matching. There's a notch at the bottom. And then you want to make sure that everything is hanging loose. So here is the bottom. So I'm matching the seam because we're going to come into here, and there is a circle here that we're going to start from that circle and then sew all the way down. So now I'm going to match up my side seam. When I try to draw stuff, which is why. Okay, so everything is matched up. So before I hand baste this, something that I'm going to do different is I like belts with my dresses, and I like them sewn in to my dress. So I am going to, I've already marked kind of where I want my belt. I just have to find it. I believe it's going to be right up here inside the pocket. And so I want this side facing down. This is the top of the belt, top of the belt, top of the belt, top of the belt, boom. So I'm going to put this right on top of my pocket. Stick out a little bit. And then I'm going to pin it and pin it upper side. At this stage of the game is where I'm really would want to do some hand stitching, because it's a lot of fabric. Things could get messy. Sewing things to each other that shouldn't be sewn together. Accidents happen. And because I have my belt in here, I have a belt, I got pockets, I got a lot of things going on, and this is where I want to give it one last fitting before it all gets put together. So I'm going to go ahead and play my movie while I'm doing this. All right, so I have my side basted, I have my belt in there, and now I'm going to try this on just to make sure that my seam is hanging nice and smooth. I am okay with the fit. All is well. So let me show you what it looks like on the outside. So here is my belt. Here is the side seam, and here is the pocket. That underlining that is right there, that is going to keep your pocket from flopping around and flopping out. So I still have pins in here, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it back to wrong side out. I'm going to prep my other side and then stitching it at the machine. Locking my stitch, 5/8 of an inch seam allowance. So here's my belt. I just want to make sure that my belt is not twisted inside. There we go. So I'm going to keep everything nice and flat. So this is where I'm coming to the pocket, and I'm stopping right here. Lock that stitch. Now I'm going to jump all the way down here to the bottom. I remember, start right about here. Make sure everything is smooth. So now I'm going to cut the stitches that I did for the jump. And on the other side, just cutting stitches. So now I'm going to do the pocket. So inside the seam, I'm going to start. And I'm just going to sew a 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the pocket. Just want to lay everything flat. You're going to sew right up into the seam line. And back at the table. Now to clean up all these stitches. I got my thread bucket here. Get that out the way. And then you're going to trim the seam for the pockets, because you want to you don't want it to be stuck to the dress. So now when a seam is pressed, then the pocket can come towards the front of the dress. So you release it from the seams so that the pocket can be toward the front of the dress. The last thing to do, not the last thing, facings and hemming and a good press, and this dress is going to be done. So that will be the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye. So I am showing the dress. This is where we're at so far. Back up. I don't know if you can tell, but remember the bottom, how there was one piece that was bigger than the rest? It's right there. So that will all be hemmed. It's a little bit longer, so it needs to be hemmed up here. So that will happen after all this gets taken care of. So the next video, we'll put the facing in. Put the facing in for the armholes here on the side, and then work on the dicky, which will go in here. I still don't know if I want to do all black or if I want to do the polka dots. I don't know, but let's take a look at the back. Definitely needs a pressing. Here's the back. The zipper on the inside. Needs some pressing for sure, for sure. I hope that's not me. Yeah. If that is me that's making this bumpy like this, then I'm going to have to take it out. What do you think is doing that? Let's take a look. It's the interfacing that's not letting it relax. It's the interfacing. Maybe my interfacing was too heavy. Oh, yeah. I'm definitely going to have to take this out because I don't like this look.